Whew. What's going on, everybody? We get some people in here. Looks like we got a person or two in tonight. So, good evening. How are you? How in the world do I have one person watching and I got three thumbs up? YouTube really needs to get with it and get things squared away a little bit better than what they got going on. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna hit this light behind me real quick because it's I always like having the light shined on me because I feel like I shine a light on the world. But that's just a little bit too much right there. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Hit the thumbs up if you're just joining us. Um, we'll be doing this show solo tonight. No Rob Sanders here in the house with us this evening, unfortunately. Uh, and I didn't ask him if he minded if I did this or not, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. What's going on with he had to take his dog to the emergency vet. They got into it. A couple of the dog that he adopted that's on the stream sometimes, Pluto, got into it with one of the other dogs at his house, and I guess Pluto got hurt, and he's having to take him to the emergency vet. He said his throat was tore up pretty bad, and say a prayer for that dog. I really hate to hear that. I'm an animal lover, and I hate to see anything, but I'm really glad that Rob is, first of all, that he's a good enough of a person to adopt an animal like that was on its last day at the animal shelter, and then to make sure it gets taken care of properly when something goes wrong. So says a lot about him. We might goof on each other here on the show, but that's a heck of a stand-up guy on that deal, in my opinion. So hope everyone's doing well this evening. It was a big day of college football yesterday. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Callaway's Sports Bar and Grill in West Columbia, home of the the biggest Golden Tea Lounge in the Midlands. Good wings, good food, good people, good times. Get yourself over to Callaway's, diagonal from the Walmart in West Columbia on Highway 1. Also, Dennis Wilson, DNC Trucking and Transport. If you need some shit hauled somewhere, make sure you get a hold of Dennis Wilson at DNC Trucking and Transport. He is one heck of a shit hauler. Let me tell you what's going on. Brock Lee, Will Eubanks over in the chat. How y'all doing tonight? Anyway, let me do my little line here, and nobody gave me one to say, but it sucks to be a Gamecock. South Carolina sucks. We're a 2-point favorite right now, but Florida might beat us by 50. It's truly brutal to be a Gamecock. Go Tigers. Does that sound like something like I might say? Yeah. And this is kind of impromptu, but I'm going to kind of look at some of the games from yesterday, and we'll talk about a little bit of the stuff that happened in the world of college football yesterday. Big Marty Ross says Disney has a new movie coming out tomorrow. Tinkerbell meets her brother Taco. Will Eubank says, how about them Vols, baby? How about them Vols? Yeah, Roll Tide, that was the deaf dog who got injured. Randall, the cool weather is here in the mornings. It's real crisp and cool. In the afternoons, it had been warming up pretty good. I think we got up to about 80 yesterday. Today, we didn't get up past 65, 66. It was real cool today. Nothing happened to Rob. It was his dogs got into a fight, and one of his dogs got hurt, and he had to take it to the vet. So I hope everything's all right with that. Knoxville. Yeah, I'm sure it was cold up there in Knoxville. I'll be coming through Knoxville in 12 days on the way to Columbia, Missouri. So that's going to be fun and interesting. I'm driving like 9-10 hours on Friday, and going to stop and spend the night in Mount Vernon, Illinois. The first time Carolina Jackpots ever spent the night in the state of Illinois, and then we'll head on over there the next day. I don't know. I don't know what time the game is even. Yeah, which is why we was gonna fly. We were thinking about flying there, but it's kind of hard to do when you got to schedule your plane tickets a little bit in advance, and you don't know what time the game is. It's just like whatever. So we're going to deal with that. Tiger Red Devil says, "Is Clemson's offense anemic?" It sure was yesterday. It sure was. 17-6, Clemson was winning that game late in the fourth quarter, and then they give up a touchdown to Wake. Could have made it 17-14. It ends up 17-12. That was just poverty. How would I feel about South Carolina's season if they were able to beat Florida, Missouri, and be at 4-3? Yeah, that would be great. That would be great because you'd pretty much be sure you're going to make a bowl because Vanderbilt is. This Vanderbilt's team, one of the worst ones I've seen. They have been they've been they've been progressing the past few years. Today they seem to have taken a step back this year. They're not that good. Now yesterday against Florida they lost by what was 24. They lost 38-14. They've been without their starting quarterback for the past couple of weeks though. So would that have made a huge difference? Probably not, but it's Vanderbilt. Florida's 2-15 in their last 17 road games. It is. Thomas says Mizzou looks good. They do, but you could tell toward the end of that game when it got down to crunch time, you could tell that Eli Drinkwitz, not real good situational coach when it comes to the 2-minute stuff or whatever. If you watch the ending of that game, they went for it on 4th and like 25 on their side of the 50 to when I think Drinkwitz should have really punted the ball and pinned LSU back deep and seen what they could do there because LSU then ended up giving Mizzou a real long field to have to work with. They were really in a hole. And Brady Cook, who hadn't thrown he had threw one interception yesterday. It was the first time he thrown an interception, and he was like in 5th place among SEC quarterbacks for how long it had been since he thrown an interception. He throws a pick 6 in that situation, and that crushed my soul. I hated to see that when that happened, but I mean that's football. I mean LSU's brought it. Octavian says Florida's going to be 6-2 heading into Jacksonville. I mean, man, come on. I mean, there's optimism, there's faith, there's blind optimism, and there's just delusion. And that's just delusional. You don't believe that. Excuse me. Will Eubank says, yeah, their defense does seem at Mizzou to have taken a little bit of a step back. Georgia Tech Dave says Cristobal's hands down the biggest joke in college football. Yeah, I can't. I don't. I got nothing on that. That was horrible. And I didn't even see that happen. I'd fallen asleep. And I got up at like 2 o'clock this morning and watched some highlights, and I saw that, and I was like, unbelievable. Because I probably wouldn't have even been watching that anyway, because that was just a horrible game anyway. And Georgia Tech, yeah. I mean, Georgia Tech, they lost to Bowling Green last week, and one would think, well, they're going to get blown out by Miami, and it just didn't happen. You're not always as bad as you looked the week before. I think they were looking past Bowling Green a little bit, so I think that was just one of those things that happened. Who was up here? Somebody asked me something. It's not there anymore. Anyway, Will says there's a new Buc-ee's at the Pigeon Forge exit. Yeah, I know. They were building it in March. It was almost about ready to be open in March when we were up there. Octavian says South Carolina has no run game. They would if they would keep Mario Anderson in the ball game for more than 10 plays. Hopefully that's what they're working on. As far as the Gamecocks go, and utilizing their talent is something that they really need to work on. And Coach Beamer, he really needs to work on with his staff. His staff needs some work. They have Nick Harbor, a 5-star converted edge rusher from high school, converted into a wide receiver now. A freak athlete with freak speed, and they're talking about they don't know how to utilize. He can't play the wide receiver position yet because he can't run the routes right. He can't do this and that right. But to me, it seems like there's something that they could do to utilize his size and speed. And yesterday, when I was watching some games, and I watched the Mizzou game, and I had forgotten all about the jet sweep. Just totally forgotten all about the jet sweep. And I said, well, there's something Nick Harbor could run. That's something Nick Harbor could do. That doesn't really, it's a pass play technically that doesn't really necessarily involve wide receiver skills. So, I think if he was coming at me and I'm a little defensive back, I'm not wanting to get in the way of him. LSU has the best wide receiver in the SEC and neighbors. Yeah, I believe that. I noticed number 11. What's number 11's name for LSU? He caught a touchdown yesterday. What's his name? Then I wanted to say something about that. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, somebody let me know. Alex said, no, I haven't heard anything about Juice Wells. I don't think he's going to play anymore this season. I think that one, they've been kind of stringing it along, and nothing's been said about him in over a week. I think Shane Beamer might just be kind of conveniently just hoping we forget about him. Sounds like the Gamecocks can't develop. Can't develop what? Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know if you saw it or not, but he told I don't know if it was the Mizzou student section or just a Mizzou section to kiss his ass when he caught that touchdown. He blew him a kiss, and I was like, all right. And then he slapped himself on the ass. I'm like, damn. That's crazy. Can't develop. What do you mean they can't develop? We got two high 4-star, one high 4-star, one 5-star offensive linemen right now as true freshmen that are starting. Yeah, they're starting out of necessity. They're getting better every week that they're out there. So, I think they can develop just fine. And they can't develop Nick Harbor. You can't take someone who's never been a wide receiver ever, not been a wide receiver, period, and turn him into a wide receiver. He didn't get there until the summer. He wasn't with the team because he didn't commit early like most of them do. He committed in like February or March or February, I guess, or late. He was a late bloomer, late commitment. So he didn't get with the team until the summer. He's not really been able to practice the wide receiver position. But like I said, I still think there's some plays that they could get him involved in. They said he has to learn the position, but yet he caught a touchdown pass from Lenore Sellers in Game 3. He isn't good enough to play defense. They don't want to use him there. They don't want to use him there. He wants to be a wide receiver too, so I don't know. I don't know on that deal, dude, to be honest with you. Looking at some of the other stuff that went around yesterday, it was real disappointing loss for Mizzou there at LSU. Probably just a little bit better coach team. Brian Kelly versus Eli Drinkwitz. Brian Kelly's done some dumb stuff in the past, but I would probably take him over Eli any day of the week. Eli seems to kind of piss down his leg when it comes crunch time. Red River rivalry game. Oklahoma, I wasn't shocked that they beat Texas. I mean, I was a little bit surprised, I guess you'd say. I thought they might cover the spread. I figured Texas to win. Um, Tiger Red Devil says USC barely beat Arizona. Yeah, yeah. What it take 2 overtimes um, to that's USC is not a playoff caliber team. They just are not. Um, you're going to have probably if they end up with one loss, you may end up with two teams from the Big Ten in the playoffs like you had last year. Um, Florida State, if they win the ACC, and an SEC champion, 3 overtimes. Um, so, and it's not a guarantee that Florida State's going to win the. It's not a guarantee they're going to win the ACC. You got Florida State uh, sitting there undefeated. You've got North Carolina, who's also sitting there undefeated, and they absolutely just mauled Syracuse yesterday, 40-7. I figured North Carolina to cover the spread in that game, but I did not think that that thing would turn out that way. And then you got Louisville, who just beat Notre Dame last night. Um, that's and neither of those teams play each other. None of them play each other. So, um, B Bean says, "Is Jackpot ready to get crushed by the mighty Gators?" Um, yeah, well, we'll see about that. I don't see that happening. Not in Columbia, anyway. Uh, I'll be talking up revenge on this game all week long. Hoping South Carolina wears all black for the game. Hoping that they, really put this thing, take this thing serious as far as revenge mode goes. Um, what would the ACC do if they? I don't know. I don't know how they would determine a tiebreaker on that uh, because I mean it very likely could happen because they're all undefeated. I mean you couldn't like if it came down to ACC championship game thing. I mean if Louisville went 11-1 and was to lose to Kentucky, uh, do I coach for the Giants? No, I wish. Um, then highest ranking, yeah. Octavian says we whipped y'all. I don't know. We're talking 2023 here, not 2022. I should give up the fandom. I should. I should. That would definitely probably sway the pendulum back in our favor. Um, I wanted to talk about the contest here real quick, and hopefully the folks that aren't watching live right now will go back and watch this. What's my score prediction? 34-31 Gamecocks. Pull it out. Um, it might even be worse than that. I think, I honestly, and I'm not trolling here, I think South Carolina could win that game by 2 touchdowns. I see Spencer Rattler having a day. I see him going off. Either Juice Wells isn't going to play for the rest of the year, or they're going to surprise us all and bring him back on Saturday. Um, Sunbelt Billy is just not. I don't know. He's not a good coach. Y'all can, which I don't know. The jury's still out on Shane Beamer, so I don't know if he's a. This thing is too hot for me. I don't know if he's a good coach or not. That was actually Clemson Craig's toboggan. I borrowed it and I had it turned around backwards, so the tiger paw wasn't facing towards you. But I don't need it on anymore. Will UGA ever lose again? Sure. I want to talk about the contest that we do, the Cowboys College Football Pick'em Challenge. Yesterday's results, from what I'm hearing from Rob, they're pretty horrendous with everybody across the board. And from just a me perspective, I got 4 games right yesterday. That's not good. But we're doing something a little different starting this week for the rest of the season. Um, I am. I talked with Rob. And being a man who's worked in retail and ran stores in the past, I've always held the philosophy that you have to listen to your customers. You have to listen to what they're telling you. So if you have 100 people come into your store every week and tell you, "Hey, I sure do wish y'all would move the bread over on the last aisle instead of having it on the first aisle because my bread gets crushed by the time I get to the last aisle," okay, then maybe you might want to make some changes in your grocery store. Uh, so what we're going to do is we are going to uh, start using lines from betnow.eu instead of using the lines from wherever Rob was getting them from, the Vegas Insider opening line or whatever. So normally they drop the betnow.eu games for Saturday. Normally it'll come out on about Tuesday. So we'll look on there on Tuesday and see what the BetNow EU line is for those games, and that's what we're going to go with. We're not going to go with the because yesterday, for instance, last week's line, the Kentucky plus 24 against Georgia. I think everybody probably took Kentucky in that situation. I know I did because I did not think there was any way that Georgia would have covered that much. That was just too big of a spread to cover, and I think most people probably got that pick wrong. And I I did, and had we had it at 14 and a half or whatever, was more reasonable there. Um, a lot more people would have gotten in. We have had a lot of crazy stuff. We've had a lot of people getting eights and nines, and that's great. But in any normal contest scenario like that, you shouldn't have that many people getting that much right. And I think they're getting some kind of an advantage off looking at the lines of where they've moved to here. So I think this is going to make things a little more competitive, make them a little more fair, and I think people will like it. I know I've got one of you guys that hits me in the comment section a lot about the Vegas Insider lines, and so those will be no more. Um, so some of the games that will be in the contest that's going to be featured. Uh, Will got one pick right in week 0. That's normal. A lot of people mess up that first week. I don't think I got too many right that week either. Some of the games we're going to be doing here, and I've let Rob pick some of them too, and he hasn't told me which ones he's got in yet, but I've got 6 of them that I got so far. I've got Florida at South Carolina, Texas A&M at Tennessee, Mizzou at Kentucky, USC at Notre Dame, Washington, or no, excuse me, Oregon at Washington, and NC State at Duke. The Cale shitter this week is going to be Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. And then Rob will throw a couple of games in there as well. Where are the curtains? We took them down, changing them out. The dog's here. They're here. They're all sleeping. Every one of them is asleep right now. I like it that way. They've been terrorizing me all day long. I was trying to grill some burgers on my flat top griddle out there earlier this evening, and they were all over the place. Just crazy dogs. So right now they're good. We've got one. She's asleep right there, and then him, the baby, is right here with me. He fat little belly. Um, Tell me what you think about this weekend's games. I'll just let you guys kind of lead the white jerseys with the white helmets and the white jerseys and white pants. Why? I hope Florida doesn't come out with those helmets on with that ugly F on the side of them that they've worn before in the past. That just looks awful. That's a uniform they need to scrap. The helmet design anyway. They'll probably come out with their white jerseys and the orange pants. What did I think about the Miami game? Just, I mean, I wasn't watching it, but then when I went back and watched the replay, that's just unreal. I, I, I've never seen just a total just absence of, what's going on here. I've never seen such. And then you got to think after the play. I mean, Georgia Tech, not enough credit is given to Georgia Tech, their quarterback, and their receivers for that. Not enough is credits given to them for what they did. How difficult is that to go down in 2 plays to go 75 yards and score a touchdown? Your back's against the wall. You've been playing all the whole game. You're tired as hell, and then you're able to pull that off. It's unreal. It really was. It's a shame that guy. That Haynes King kid is playing pretty good. He's playing pretty well at Georgia Tech. One might argue that, well, I don't know that he's necessarily playing better than the Texas A&M quarterbacks are, but he's kind of revived his career a little bit. Sometimes people need to change the scenery. Will says he saw on Twitter that Miami had not kneeled the ball down once all season. Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. And Mario Cristobal has done that before. In 2018, I saw this on Twitter, and I obviously don't remember it because I don't pay attention to Oregon football that much, and it was 5 years ago, but he didn't kneel the ball down inside of a minute left to go against Stanford. And the same kind of scenario happened, and Stanford ended up winning the ball game in overtime. So that's awful. Paying him too much money to do that. Miami had players crying, yeah, and then they showed all the recruits that they had standing over there in the end zone. It was a huge recruiting weekend for them, and they just totally looked stupid. Crystal balls, terrible play calling. Did anybody see Deion's son go over to the Arizona State student section and show off his Rolex and point to him, talking a bunch of shit? That was kind of funny. There was no telling what they were saying to him the entire game. So, I watched the video the first time, and he was doing this, and I was like, what is he doing? I'm like, is he shooting a bird? Like he's trying to shoot a bird, but he's not shooting the bird, like he's not raising his middle finger to do it, so that it'll be, he won't catch any flack for it or what. And then I was like, okay, he's showing his watch off. BB says we all did dumb stuff as kids, T-Paws 88 says you rock, Jackpot. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know where, and he had it on. Was he wearing it while he was playing? I mean, there's no way. Shadur's leading college football in passing. It's pretty unsuspected. Yeah. I was looking at the stats, and I was surprised to see that Spencer Rattler's all the way down at like number 33. But he didn't play yesterday, and then that Tennessee game didn't do him any favors. He didn't really pick up a lot of steam there in that game, as far as because he was I think at like 15 a couple of weeks ago. So that one, he's dropped down quite a bit. This is going to definitely be a turning point in the season. It's either going to go one of two ways for South Carolina, and their season for Florida go one of two ways either. This make no mistake about it. Both teams are at a crossroads. And Florida wants to act like they've been better this season, but you've got to also kind of look at the schedule you've played. Which you did have a non-conference tough game against Utah, but your SEC competition has not been what South Carolina's has been. Then you played, you played a terrible team at home in Charlotte, barely beat them. Just not buying it. just not buying Florida this year. I think South Carolina's going to have got your number. Last year's performance was awful, and I think they're going to go back and atone for that one. We've been better than South Carolina. I mean, no, you really haven't. I mean, did you watch them play football against Kentucky? I mean, dude, y'all got ran out of the building. And then did you see Kentucky last night? That was surprising to me. Not surprising that Georgia came out and really, really put up a really good performance. Um, I was looking for that because, excuse me, not picking my nose, I'd scratch it. They've been like a volcano this season, just ready to erupt at any, no, I didn't pick it, at any particular moment. And they certainly did that last night. Um, but I expected Kentucky to do a little bit more heavy lifting than what they did last night against them. That was a pretty abysmal performance by them. So, what about Missouri? What about them? They're still not there yet. They played well. I feel like offensively fought hard, but as the game wore on, you could tell that LSU was probably just a little bit better team. Um, B Bean says Missouri looks scary. They do, but you also got to remember that that LSU's defensive backs and that they're that back seven is really not that good. they're they're pretty soft. They're playing pretty soft too. Yesterday, that one kid they got number four. Think he's number four, Perkins. No, he's a hell of a player. Um, but a lot of the rest of their defense is not very good. So they're kind of exposed a little bit by Missouri. Hopefully South Carolina's got it together when they go out there uh, because we don't lose when I go. So um, I really don't want to drive that far, see a team lose. But that's all about. It's about bonding, taking a road trip with your son. Um, Winning and losing is part of it. So one of us has got to lose. It might be us. We're definitely going to be underdogs, probably be double-digit underdogs if we don't play well this Saturday against Florida. But I have confidence. I think South Carolina will play well and win that game. Jackpot, did you finally come to your senses and fire Rob? Where's the ACC home rat? No, he had to take his dog to the emergency vet tonight. What's up, Nicholas Powell? How you doing tonight? He had to. Dogs got into a fight, and the one dog got hurt, and he had to take her to the vet. So, hope that turns out to be all right. Bazooka Joke says only time I picked Florida to win anything meaningful is against Tennessee. Yeah. DVD, what's going on? Shouts for paying up on your bet. Thank you, sir. You know that would, um, as I know you would have as well. Mike Bridges says Florida's so good it got destroyed by Kentucky, and then Georgia's boat race Kentucky. Yeah, a little transitive property stuff there, but I can pick up what you're putting down. Brandon says South Carolina is 1 point favorite of Florida. I think it's up to 2 now. Nicholas Powell says, I think you'll beat Florida whether you play well or not. I don't know about that. Octavian says he's cocky just like Spurrier. You can't claim him. No, that's fine. Y'all can claim him. I like what he did at South Carolina, but I do not. I don't. I don't like the way he left South Carolina. I thought that was piss poor. I really did. Um, But one thing about the way he left South Carolina, I mean, it was just embarrassing. It made South Carolina, to me, it made us look like less of a program, and it just made South Carolina as a program look bad. That someone would do something like that. Um, but I can say when he walked out, he gave us a 6 week advantage over everybody else on the head coaching search for that year. And what did they come up with? They came up with Will Muschamp. I got nothing. I got nothing. Just yeah. SC Dog, thank you for the super chat, sir. I appreciate it. I would put you down on the little ticker down below, but I don't have one. Yep, they still came up with Muschamp. I think Spurs should have hung it up after the Independence win. Yeah. Yeah, he should have. And from and what everybody says, he wanted to retire that year. He wanted to retire after that game, or after the end of the 2014 season. And then Ray Tanner didn't want him to retire. Didn't want him to retire. Talked him into coming back for the 2015 season, which I don't know. I don't know why he. I don't know why he. What am I trying to say? I don't know why he was ready to retire yet. Anyway, I mean, he still looks like he's still pretty healthy now. He's got a lot of piss and vinegar. Hell, he's running them restaurant, ain't he? And that was 10 years ago. So, I don't have. Sorry, I mean to tell you, I don't have a means to have anybody call in tonight. Sorry. I'm just all a mess. Brandon Stiles says he's not sold on Beamer. Excuse me. I got allergies going on too. First of all, I want to. Kyle says, "How do you see the season playing out for South Carolina after the bye week?" It's all going to hinge on what happens Saturday, sir. I think if they win Saturday, you're looking at a situation where you're likely going to go on the road. You'll be 3-3. They're likely going to go on the road and lose. They're probably going to drop both those games to Mizzou and Texas A&M. I have hopes they can beat Mizzou. I think they can beat Mizzou. They're going to have to play a really, really good game. They're going to have to play really solid defensively to beat them. But if they do that, South Carolina can score on Mizzou. They can move the ball on them. LSU was able to do it yesterday, and I think Spencer Rattler and those guys can move the football down the field against Missouri. Texas A&M is a little bit of a different story. Texas A&M's pass rush is a little bit more lethal than what Mizzou's is. I think that South Carolina may have like a Tennessee type situation in that game, where Rattler's just not able to get as much done like he wants to. And then Jacksonville State and Vanderbilt, both of those should be wins. I think personally Jacksonville State's better than Vanderbilt. I mean, I'm honestly more concerned about Jacksonville State than what I am with Vanderbilt. Just judging on what I've seen from Vanderbilt the past few weeks, and I was pretty impressed with Jacksonville State. Wednesday night they played, came from behind, and they just walloped Middle Tennessee. Do you think the Vols will win at home against Texas A&M? I think you beat them. I really do. I think Tennessee wins that one. They were involved in kind of a rock fight yesterday with Alabama, but that's one of the ones where I think Texas A&M really probably threw everything they had into that game. I don't know that y'all are going to get their best effort. If you got their best effort, I would think Texas A&M would probably win, but being as I don't think you will, I think Tennessee will win that game. I think you probably win by like 3 points. Says he needs to fire the wide receiver, O-line coach, and special teams. Who are you talking about? Beamer? Why would you Why would you want to fire the wide receiver coach Justin Stepp? Those kids love that guy. He's not. I mean, he can't do anything with what he's got. I mean, he's he's done a really good job at South Carolina. Oh, Clemson. I'm sorry. So you're talking about. Um, South Carolina. I don't know that they're in position really to be firing any coaches this year anyway. They've got some pretty good recruits coming in, and you don't want to really necessarily screw that up for going with going with the unknown. Uh, you got Dylan Stewart coming in. You got him on the hook. This other 4, 5 high 4-star Daniel Hill, this running back. We don't know what he's going to do. This kid was set to make a decision at the end of August before the season started. This is the kid out of Mississippi. Then he put it off. He backed his commitment off. He said, "I'm not going to do my commitment this week." He said he was going to wait until the time was right. And I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he took visits. He went to Tennessee for the Tennessee South Carolina game, which was that really. I don't know. We're wanting to land that guy, and then he goes up to Tennessee, especially for that game. That's just fucking. That's just our damn luck, ain't it? Um, Coaching needs to stay next year is out, make or break. Let's see where we stand. Yeah. If nothing else, Lucky, I'd like to see some changes over there on the defensive side of the ball. So I wouldn't be upset if maybe Clayton White got and he's been rumored to maybe be in the mix for some like lower level Power 5 jobs, maybe if they come open, stuff like that. So um, I wouldn't be upset if he got one of those. I absolutely wouldn't. SEC Dog says Clemson should have fired Dabo and promoted Venables. That's interesting. That is interesting. How do I see South Carolina finishing out the schedule? I I honestly think they're going to go 5-7. I think they're going to go 5-7. They're going to beat Vanderbilt. They're going to beat Jacksonville State, and then their other win is going to come from a mixture of all those other games. I would think it's probably going to be Florida, but any of those games are winnable, except for the Texas A&M. I don't think there's really much of a scenario that you win that game, but the Clemson game is a winnable game. Florida is a winnable game. Not Florida, I meant Kentucky is a winnable game. Mizzou on the road, still a winnable game. So I don't know. This Saturday is going to be pivotal. With the 3:30 start, I would have liked to see that game played at night, but 3:30 is close enough. We'll take it. We will take it. I'm looking forward to finding out when the South Carolina Mizzou game is or what time that one's going to be. Should find that out tomorrow or Wednesday or tomorrow or Tuesday. We should find out what time the South Carolina Mizzou kick is going to be. Yeah, I'm going to the game. I really need it to be. I would love for it to be a noon game. I'd love for it to be a little low nooner. That way I can get back on the road and kind of get back home maybe Sunday morning because we're going to Florida Sunday for a week. I'm going to be on vacation all week long down in Daytona. Am I going to post videos on the road? Abso-fucking-lutely. Somebody says we don't, or at least I can't stand Booger Bentley. Billy Cole says just left one a chat talking about him. Grown ass men. I don't really know about that. Excuse me. I'm thinking that game will either be at noon, but More than likely, it'll be a 3:30 or 4 p.m. start over on the SEC network. That's when most of those South Carolina Missouri games are at like 4. And I guess I'll be okay with that. I really, really don't want a night game. Um, South Carolina, Mizzou, when playing at Mizzou, they've played night games twice. They played a night game in 2013, and Mizzou was ranked like number 5 in the country when South Carolina played them in 2013, and we beat them. Then in 2017, we played them at night, and we beat them there too. So who knows? So maybe we do need to play them at night. Um, but I'm thinking it'd probably be in the afternoon. Who's going to do my route when I'm on vacation? They got a guy that kind of just fills in and runs stuff for people when they're on vacation. It's kind of older guy. It kind of works part time. He'll do it. But he's really not going to work anything but the grocery stores. He won't really work the Dollar Generals and stuff like that. I'll just get all those knocked out in the next week or so, get them serviced up, and he'll take care of the main accounts. Bazooka Joe says Clemson is stuck in the Stone Age. And you know what? One of their problems, they just don't have that star player anymore. They don't have that marquee name anymore. And they always had, well, they had several marquee names every year. I mean, you would think, when I thought of Clemson, I would think Travis Etienne, I'd think T. Higgins, I'd think Trevor Lawrence, I'd think Dexter Lawrence, whatever. But now we don't have that anymore. You ask anybody that's just kind of a casual college football fan. I mean, they may know who Will Shipley. They may know who Cade Klubnik is. I'm not sure, but other than that, they're probably not going to be able to name any of their players. They're not going to be able to tell you who Orthororo is, or Nate Wiggins, Andrew Makuba. Dabo loves to promote from within and loves to hire former players without those players having any experience. Yeah. Tyler Brown looks good. Yeah, he's a decent one. Kyle says, how's the new route going? Are you going to miss seeing you in the upstate? Oh, yeah. Um, it's okay. The worst part is to drive. I have to drive all the way to Greenwood to get started. So that's tough. Brenning stool sample. Um, yeah, he's decent. He had a drop yesterday too. Looked pretty bad. Who's going to be the signature win this season? Mississippi State. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get a few more than that, Jim. But it could be. It might have to be. Mississippi State's not very good. How far of a drive is it to Greenwood? From here, it's just a little over an hour. It's about 45 miles. Used to do it the cigarette route to Greenwood. Yeah. Greenwood is a long drive. Yeah, there's not anything much in between. And I have to go. Excuse me, I don't have to go. The way I go there is, I don't know if you know that much about these roads around here or not, but from where I live here in Simpsonville, I'll go down Fairview Road. Why did I make the route change? Because the guy that owns all the routes in the area that I work for asked me to do it. Um, I drive all the way down Fairview Road in Simpsonville, all the way down to the end of it, which is all the way down at Hickory Tavern, down in Lawrence County, and you cross down over through there, and then you kind of hit the back way and go through the country from there, and you end up over near Ware Shoals on Highway 25 south, and then you hit that, and then you take out the greenwood. So that's a drive. I mean, you see a lot of deer out and other nighttime creatures that may may have lots of teeth and bad attitudes. I hit a possum the other morning. I felt bad about it, but I mean, it was right there in the road. I come around a corner, there it was, and I had no choice but to go right over the top of it. And I was hoping I wasn't going to run over the thing because I just don't like killing animals. But I heard it, ding, ding, and I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry, possum. Your uncle lives in 96. Yeah, I have to go out there too. That's a long drive. Jacksonville State's going to be the signature win. Um, they're not a bad team. They're really not. And the thing about them is they're not going to be able to make a bowl game this year. Um, they won't make a bowl game this year because they just moved up from FCS to FBS, and I don't think James Madison is eligible to go to a bowl this year either. And they were FBS last year. I think it's 2 years you have to wait, which is so fucking stupid. That's just one of the dumbest rules that the NCAA has that they've come up with. Now, what difference does it make how long you've been in an FBS program? Oh, wow. I mean, if you moved up from FCS to FBS and you've won enough games to be eligible for a bowl, in my opinion, that's an even bigger feather in their cap than if they've been an FBS team for years. So that's just silly. Yeah, James Madison isn't eligible and they're undefeated. Thought I lived. No, I don't live in Columbia. I live in the upstate, Simpsonville. Simpsonville. I like Columbia. It's a beautiful city, beautiful. But no, I don't live there. It's the NCAA, so what would you expect? Yeah, I know. Did y'all see that they granted Tez Walker his eligibility? So Tez was finally freed and allowed to compete for the Tar Heels. So I guess he's going to be able to play the rest of the season. It's kind of crazy. I mean, why that it took so long to come to that decision to let that guy play football. Just crazy. And I mean, they got some big games coming up though, so at least he'll be available for the big games. I mean, he really didn't miss any huge ones. So that was damage control. Yeah. San Francisco 49ers, Debo Samuel are whipping up on the Dallas Cowboys right now, which I know that probably makes a lot of people happy. Dallas is one of those teams that not a lot of people really like a lot. And then, of course, the Atlanta Braves make it to the playoffs again, divisional playoff series against the Phillies, and they lose. Game one was shut out last night, so hopefully we're not on track to see the Braves lay another turd in the playoffs after having an awesome regular season. What's the line on the Carolina Gator game right now? South Carolina -2. The Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati Reds were doing okay. The Reds were doing okay there for a while. They were in like second place, weren't they? They in first place in the National League Central. I don't even know who won. Did the Cubs end up winning that thing? That's crazy. You had a bunch of teams there. None of them have real good records. The Braves were definitely the class of the National League, but they played kind of crappy the last few weeks. Why is it so fun to make fun of Dallas? I don't know. I think it's one of them teams that Milwaukee. Okay, they're one of them teams that I don't know. People just talk a lot of shit about them, and or they talk them up a lot, and then they fail to live up to expectations. And been to the Super Bowl, and God knows how long, and I don't know. But they're just They're really involved there. First time the Braves been shut out home this season. Playoffs equals shit to bed. Really, this is the first time. Damn, you play 162 games, you would have thought they would have been shut out at home at least once. That's awful. Cubs were the second in NL Central. Okay. Oh. Yeah, but there's some really there's some interesting matchups this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. What's the beer of choice tonight? No beer. We got some Diet Mountain Dew. Diet Mountain Dew's on tap. Did anybody see that Pepsi changed the logo on their cans and bottles? They went back to the old school Pepsi logo. Looks kind of weird. So the basement bookie said, take Kansas State, easy money over Oklahoma State. Did he really? I need to subscribe to that newsletter. It's only $5 a month. I mean, what can it hurt? But they really, I took Oklahoma State in that game. I actually won $20 on that one. On Bet Now. I put down $20 to win whatever you win. And I took that on the money line. Or not on the money line, I took them to cover. I knew that was too many points. I knew Kansas State wasn't that good. And Oklahoma State was primed to kind of have some kind of signature win and kind of resurrect things for the season a little bit. Figured it was time for a reset, and it sure was. Do I follow or attend any high school football? I don't go to any. I try to follow it and keep up with what's going on around here. But no, I hadn't been to a game in quite a few years. I just put this hoodie on for the first time since, I don't know, probably last March, I would say. And it seems like every hoodie that I put on and I hadn't had on in a while, or anytime I put on a jacket, I hadn't worn the jacket in a while, I'll find a roll of these dog shit bags on them. Don't worry, it's not used. These are new ones. Diet Dr. Pepper will put hair on your head. No, it won't. I drank them too. In fact, I'm still over there. If he comes into focus, I don't know if you can see or not. Over there on the bench, I think there's one can left in that 12 pack of Diet or the Dr. Pepper cigarettes. That don't put hair on my head either. Still bald as a baby's butt. But thanks for trying. Roll Tide says the famous Chris Chan shirt wore in one of his videos says Mountain Dew me. Ha! What? What's your take on an anonymous Pac-12 coach saying that Sanders is intentionally getting sacked so he will not mess up his passing stats? So what do you mean? So he's taking sacks instead of throwing the ball away, counting as an incompletion? Is that what you're saying? I guess it's possible, but it's not likely. I had somebody down in the comment section on one of the videos I did from last week that I was reading today. I try to go through them. I try to at least read and I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think he's probably doing that. I think Colorado's defensive line is really bad. Or their offensive line, excuse me. It's just not good, I think. But those receivers there are pretty athletic and are able to make plays. But, I doubt it. Rob Ezesibias, thank you. I appreciate that. What was I talking about? Damn, I done forgot what I was going to talk about next. Getting sacked on purpose. Did I get your email? Mm-mm. I'll look in the spam. When did you send it? Pop Big says you need to get hooked up with the distributor that takes care of the Bolt House Farm and Naked Smoothie Drink section. No, I don't know about that. When I ran a store for Ingles, we got those from the warehouse. I mean, like we ordered them. We ordered the Bolt House drinks, so it wasn't a vendor didn't bring those in. So I don't know. Did I think Georgia would beat Kentucky that bad? No. Talk about the plans while I'm in Mizzou. Like I said, we're going to drive there on Friday and stay the night in Illinois in a place called Mount Vernon. Looks like it's about an hour or so. You know what I mean? Tangerine good for you. Looks like it's about an hour or so from St. Louis, and then we're going to drive them over there. I'm interested to see what the tailgating scene is like in Missouri as well. Hopefully, I can hang out. I don't know. The guys that do the Missouri podcast, the Mazodcast, I listen to. One of them, I don't think he goes to as many games as he used to. He had twin boys born, I think about 6 months ago. They were born with some health problems, so I don't think they really attend those games like they used to. But see if I can find some cool people. Stop by the Illinois dispensary, completely legal. And where is that located at in Illinois? Kentucky's defensive coordinator forgot to cover Bowers. Do I think South Carolina beat Kentucky that bad? No. Ron Jordan says, "Am I under the weather?" Yeah, I've just got allergies that kind of pop up. I stay stuffed up all the time. So, do a tour of the campus and stadiums. We will. Willie B better be loud. Willie B's always loud, at least in the first half. If we can get everybody to stay, they like to leave. I don't know if anybody saw pictures of it yesterday, but Clemson's crowd was embarrassing yesterday. It looked like half the crowd left the game at halftime. Just and I know South Carolina's done that in the past before too, and I'm not saying we haven't, but I mean at Clemson, I mean that's just kind of really silly. And then of course they rush the field like they always do. After the game, I got a picture of it from watching when I was watching that game. I took a picture of that off the screen, a screenshot of it, and I'm like, there's like 1,000 people dumped onto their field. And we're rushing it for beating a bad Wake Forest team. A bad Wake Forest team. There's also a thriving Harris Boat Casino in Metropolitan Illinois. Get tired of watching that pathetic performance. I know. I agree. They didn't look good. All right, gang. Well, this has been fun tonight. Just wanted to come on and spend a little time around. Sorry, Rob wasn't able to be here, and we weren't able to do calls and have all the normal stuff that we do. But I'm committed to you guys to come give you a show every Sunday night and Wednesday night. So that's what we're doing. So R says he thinks we'll crap the bed as usual, and Beamer will give his Best Muschamp post game speech. Yeah, the good. Yeah, I haven't seen him talk about. We've won more games in our first 3 years here than anybody has. That used to be Will Muschamp's go-to line every time we had a loss, and he started getting grilled during the press conference. I'm like, by about the third time I heard him say it, I'm like, "Shut up, you son of a bitch!" I'm like, nobody cares. Nobody cares that you. He's like trying to say that he was better than Steve Spurrier is kind of how I took it, which is just this is absolute nonsense, and nobody believes. So anyway, I appreciate it, guys. I'll see you all later on. Peace. I'm out of here. Go Gamecocks.